Call the meeting to order. I ask you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get into the meat of the meeting, we have the years of service recognition for a city employee, and that would be John Schlechter. This evening we have a privilege of honoring one of our public works employees, John Schlechter, for 20 years of service with the City of Winsted. City of Winsted wishes to express its sincere thanks and gratitude for his years of dedicated service and for reaching his milestone in his career. Congratulations, John. You're about halfway, right?
8 more.
Next item is every year the city awards a Winsted Pride Award. And the Winsted Pride Award recognizes the residents and businesses for enhancing the aesthetic quality of the property in the city of Winsted above and beyond acceptable standards. One award is presented each year in the residential category and one in the business category. These properties usually exceed codes and design standards, and they display exceptional maintenance standards. Their hard work and dedication to their properties offer major contributions to the overall enhancement of the city's image. The improvements and maintenance create a sense of pride throughout the community. On behalf of the City of Winsted, I would like to congratulate the 2024 Winsted Pride Award winners, Dave and Jamie Muellers, who are not here tonight. That's for the residents. And we have Coffee Cove. So I know we have them here. And we have one more presentation of types. The oath of office for the Winsted Police Officer, Adam Santana. Adrian. I was thinking of the rock band. You want to go? I'll read this to you and read after me, unless I stutter. I, Adrian, solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and to discharge faithfully the duties of the office of police officer, City of Winsted, Minnesota, to the best of my judgment. So help me God. Help me God.
The date?
17.
Fun fact, Adrian used to sell ice cream.
Yeah, right.
He did.
He knew
School
that
store.
he knew this day was coming.
Yeah, he knew it was coming.
Anybody who wants to leave, now would be the time. You don't have to stay.
Wait a minute.
Anybody here?
Everybody can leave. Okay, with that, we'll move on to the consent agenda tonight. That consists of A, approve the minutes of the following city council work session, August 6th, city council regular meeting, August 6th, Item B, schedule a public hearing for Tuesday, October 15th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers at Winston City Hall to consider ordinance amendments to Chapter 1 of the Winston Municipal Code relating to City Council wages. Item C, schedule a truth and taxation public hearing for Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024, 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers at Winston City Hall. Item D, authorize the city administrator to draft a joint powers agreement with the City of Lester Prairie to merge police departments and provide public safety services to the respective cities. Item E, declare 33 street light poles and fixtures as surplus equipment and eligible for sale as recommended by the Public Works lead, and authorize the city administrator to determine the process and best method for sale of the equipment. Item F, adopt resolution R-24-27, accepting a donation from Ameriprise Financial on behalf of Yvonne Kramer to be dedicated to the Winston Police Department Fund. Item G, adopt resolution R-24-28, accepting a donation from Ameriprise Financial on behalf of Yvonne Kramer to be dedicated to the Winston Volunteer Fire Department Fund. Item H, accept the voluntary resignation of Miss Madison Feeke as utility billing clerk effective September 6, 2024. Item I, approve the pledged securities that Security Bank and Trust Company has purchased for the City of Winston for the month of August 2024. Item J, approve the building permit report for the month of August 2024. Item K, approve the financial report for the month of July 2024. Item L, approve the claims list for September 17, 2024. Item M, authorize the mayor and city clerk treasurer to execute a land exchange agreement with Yukon Land Company, LLC, and Bridgeland Development Company, according to Resolution R-24-26, and subject to terms and contingencies outlined in the agreement with an updated valuation of the park parcel in Section 1.3 of the agreement. That's the consent agenda. I'm looking for somebody to make a motion for approval.
Mr. Mayor, a motion the approval of the consent agenda as presented, and I abstain from voting on item I.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under new business tonight, well number 4, emergency repairs. Neil, you want to start us off?
Yes, so recently we've had well number 4 has been out, so we've been running on well number 1. We had different parts that need to be ordered. Basically, we had the pump had gone out, and while they were researching that, found a lot of pitting, and we ended up getting a emergency repair ordered, so to speak, and now hopefully will be done by next week. Anything you'd like to add, Chris? Yeah. We're running on well 3 right now.
Mr. Neil, we're still as a city able to keep up with the demands of the city in terms of water needs?
Yes, we are at this time, yeah.
Any other questions? If not, looking for a motion.
Make a motion to authorize the city administrator to execute a quote with Trot Companies, provide the materials and labor necessary to make emergency repairs to well number 4 in the city of Winston for an amount not to exceed $46,300.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item is well number 5, award recommendation. Neil, you want to start us off?
Yep, so this project's been in the works for a little while here. I have asked Jake from Bolton and Mang to join us and give a little presentation on why it is necessary.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. So, yeah, bids for well number 5 received. The city currently has 3 other wells. 2 of those wells are quite old, installed prior to 1960, and those are both shallow drift wells, so they produce less water than a Mount Simon well. And then, of course, the other well is aging and requires maintenance, as you just heard from the previous council action item. Well number 4 is currently down, and that's the primary source of water for the city. So by adding this new well, We would increase the capacity of the system above what is recommended by the state. It would allow for system reliability. It would allow for adequate fire flow. And it would allow for any potential development or growth to occur within the city. So 2 bids were received. Low bid was Minger Construction at a price of $1,709,912. With that bid, this includes a raw water line and the drilling of a well. And as mentioned, the well is a Mount Simon well, so it's a higher capacity well, so it would serve the city well into the future. And then the subcontractor for them, the driller, is the same company that the city administrator just referenced, Trout. So they would be doing a portion of the work as well underneath Minger. So
Have you worked with Minger before?
we have, yes, they do specialty type work, trenchless drilling. Well, they do all kinds of work, but they do a lot of that specialty work that's a little harder to find. In this case, we're drilling the raw water line underneath a roadway to reduce restoration costs. So that's right up there. So with that, recommend award of a construction contract in the amount of $1,709,912 to Minger Construction Companies.
What, we have a bond or loan?
So we have the option for a PFA loan, so the Public Facilities Authority through the state, so the city gets to tap into the state's bond rate. If that were to close today, it looks like that loan rate would be 2%. That's obviously going to fluctuate. But yes, we would provide those documentations, the documentation needed for that, and then we'd deal with Neil and Raquel, see if we're going to act on that. But yes, that option is in play.
Okay.
Other questions?
All the work that you have done up to this point, if this project was shelved, let's say, and we waited 5 years down the line, would your work have to be redone or
I would
updated?
say no. The only possible thing to check would be to do another utility locate, just to make sure when we're drilling that there's nothing in the way, that maybe a private utility crossing's changed or something like that. But otherwise, the design would still be valid.
Okay.
Yeah, the soil boring information, all valid. The topo, we're not going to be doing any street work through there, so everything would be fine with the possible exception of utilities, but that would be a minor.
But if we did wait, what risks do we run?
Well, the city currently does not meet the firm capacity, so meaning currently now when well 4 is down, you're running on well 3, which has a capacity of about 350 GPM, and that number
That's
is...
gallons per minute?
Yep, sorry, gallons per minute, yes. So that number is supposed to be above your max day demand, so on your busiest day, so that varies throughout the season, but your busiest day historically has fluctuated from about 100 gallons per minute above that and below that, so you're kind of in the middle of that. So about half the time in the summertime you would not meet that. So you would have difficulty fighting a fire. And then if it were to be a drought season with the irrigation going on, you would have difficulty providing enough water for your residents.
Or growth?
Or growth, yes. And then the growth piece is another, factor. That obviously more growth takes up more water, and that buffer that you have shrinks.
Yeah, in the event that we would push this down the road, would we subject ourselves to future regulations imposed by the state and federal government? Just your best guess.
So this is a Mount Simon well that's proposed. Currently, metro area communities, meaning the 7-county metro, cannot get Mount Simon wells without added scrutiny. They're very difficult to obtain. So if we were drilling a couple miles to the east here, this project would not be able to be authorized. So that would be my biggest fear. I haven't heard anything of that happening, but if that restriction were to expand, Winstead is one of the closest communities to the metro that can even get a Mount Simon well. So that would be my fear, but I have not heard of that happening. But it's a possibility. The water restrictions in the metro are becoming more and more stringent every year. But technically, Winstead's not a metro community.
What's a little scary to me is, essentially, well number 4 goes down, that takes out 2 wells. right? I mean, that,
That is correct. Yep,
Yeah.
well number 2 cannot be run without well number 4. So well 4 goes down as the current situation, you're only running on well number 3, which is about 65 years old.
And well number 1 is abandoned at this
Well
point.
number 1 is no more, correct?
And well 2 has the arsenic.
Correct. Yeah, the only good well, depends who you define good, but the only good well the city has is well number 4. So hopefully after this maintenance work, it'll be in good shape for a while, but
Any other
Yep.
questions for Jake? If not, look for a resolution.
A motion to award a contract in the amount of $1,709,912 to Minger Construction Companies Incorporated, provide all materials and labor necessary to construct a Mount Simon aquifer well, along with approximately 1,600 feet of raw water main in the city of Winsted, contingent upon approved financing.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
A motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
we'll get working on the financing then and then proceed with construction contracts. Thank you.
Jake, thanks, Jake.
Thanks, Jake. We've come to the preliminary property tax levy certification. Neil, you're up.
All right. So going through our preliminary 2025 property tax and general fund budget. Going to give you a little bit of an overview of the process, significant budget changes. We're sticking with the 5-year budget model that's been in place for quite some time now. And talking about the preliminary 2025 property tax levels, general and debt service, and then just some real general discussions. Talking on the timeline, in July and August, we started to prepare the proposed 2025 budget. August 20th, we had the city council work session to review the recommended 2025 general fund budget and preliminary general fund. We did not need these 2 additional dates, so I had crossed those off. And then obviously we are here tonight talking about it and need to certify it before the 30th each year of September. On October 1st, we would have an additional work session, and the 15th would be the same. Sometime the week of the 21st to the 25th, we'll have to schedule one to have our enterprise funds, which will include the airport funds, capital funds, fire funds, and then the general fund as well, along with sewer and water. So obviously in that 3rd week in October, 4th week there, we're going to dive in quite a bit deeper into what our overall costs will be. On the 19th, we have another work session prior to the truth and taxation. And on the December 3rd, we just scheduled here tonight the truth and taxation public hearing, and then we will adopt the budget before the new year is up here. So looking at the 2025 fund summary, taking into some assumptions, considerations, we have conservative revenue and expenditure assumptions, the implementation of a new 2025 compensation plan, there's a 9% cost increase in employee benefits, along with reallocation of our current resources based on needs and actual history. So the budget's better adjusted to have actual expenditures from our previous year. And it supports the complement of our current full-time employees and one additional full-time employee who we'll talk about here in a second. It supports the street capital improvement program as adopted in 2017 budget. We will have street projects coming up in 2027 here, and that'll be a significant amount of money, so we're saving a little bit for that. Our EDA funding will continue. We will be taking taking ownership, I guess, of our lawn services instead of hiring that out. That's where that extra FTE comes into play. So we will be also purchasing along with that a lawnmower and making sure that we can cover those costs. We're considering the increase in council pay for meetings, and then this particular preliminary budget includes a merger of the police department with Lester Prairie. Our capital improvement plan funding would go up considerably when you look at our different areas here. We have facilities. Right now, we have $5,000 budgeted for that. We are starting to get to the point where building here is going to need a little bit of work, so we're going to need a little bit more funds in that particular fund. And parks, as you know, we have that project for Hanlon and trying to save money for that. I just mentioned the streets. Trails. The $75,000 in trails is not just trails. It's actually sidewalks as well. So looking to improve on our sidewalks. So you can see there's a considerable amount of funding in that. And the equipment, which the main thing would be the assortment of lawn items. That is the reason that went up. All right. So the 5-year budget model just allows the city council to better understand both general condition of the city's budget, but also to examine the impact of the particular decisions of financial position of the city. All that is saying is that we are looking 5 years out at a time. So what are we buying for 5 years? What do we expect in revenues? What do we expect in expenses for those 5 years? Make some assumptions, and obviously they're just assumptions. So we're seeing what is actually happening. Now, getting into the actual dollars of it, this slide is pretty important. Per state law, the city council must certify a preliminary property tax levy on or before September 30th of each year. The final property tax levy may be lower than the preliminary property tax levy, but it cannot exceed it. Historically, that is typically the case. So the preliminary property tax levy is set higher because you cannot exceed it. So if something were to come up in the next couple of months, it gives us a little bit of flexibility here to work with. So the city's property tax levy is comprised of two parts, general levy and the debt levy, and then that will equal the property tax levy. Some things that we have to consider. LGA this year went up $554. So that is not keeping pace with inflation. So we do need to make up that money from somewhere because, as you guys know from your own bills, our costs have not gone down. This is the debt service levy. So the debt service portion is basically money that we've borrowed. So these are loans or bonds that we have out that we have to pay. So there's no room in this of what we can adjust. So you're looking at some of the old projects, but these are, like I said, loans. Think of them as our mortgages, but your bonds that you have to pay. So we don't really have to talk too much about those because that expense is there no matter what. These ones are not included in this particular levy because they are part of the enterprise funds, but they are still loans that we have to pay back. So looking forward here for the 2025, the preliminary 2025 general property tax levy would increase 15.24%, and the preliminary 2025 debt service levy would actually decrease 2.94% just based on how we've been paying back those loans, resulting in a total preliminary 2025 property tax levy increase of 12.91%. These are just how we calculated those numbers. Again, the preliminary 2025 property tax levy should provide the city council with maximum flexibility regarding future budget decisions. The final levy may be certified at a lower amount, but it cannot be higher than the preliminary property tax levy. Any questions?
So this was, this percentage is similar to last year's, and then we ended up significantly lower than that, correct?
Correct. Yes. Historically, this matches up with what has been presented in the past.
And the actual last year was a little over 7%.
Correct. Yep.
Anybody else have any questions? Looking for a motion then.
I'd make a motion to adopt resolution number R-24-29, certifying the preliminary 2025 general property tax levy of $1,685,617 and preliminary 2025 debt service levy of $445,500 for a total preliminary 2025 property tax levy of $2,131,117.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll move on to the next item, which is the organization report, and tonight it's the Winston Arts Council.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to present to you this evening. My name is Julie Gugamas. I'm the president of the board of the Winsted Arts Council. We've had a fun year. The biggest project that we undertook, we undertook this a long time ago, finally came to completion this year, is the mural on the side of the corner bar. We're really excited about that. We thought it was turned out great, and we ended up using local artists, which was a good thing. Emily Victory, who's from Watertown. She has been a teacher in the school system around this area previously. She's a working artist. She was the brains behind the project. And then Nico Alexander, another local artist who does a lot of mural art all over the country, actually. He was the second on the project, and they completed that beautiful mural. The mural was paid for by private donations. It's been funded by private donations. We're now collecting dollars for a maintenance fund. So we're still accepting dollars that'll be earmarked for future mural maintenance. But that's completed, and we're really happy with the result. We think it really captures the spirit of Winston. Another project that we completed this summer, Music in the Park, is something we've had for a few years, and that's a lot of fun. And it brings people downtown. It's a free event for people to attend. We try to have a variety of music. We do it in July because in June you have Woodstock, August there's Summer Festival. July seemed to be the obvious time to have something down there. The weather's generally speaking pretty good. We were supported by the Southwest Minnesota Arts Council this year financially. We obtained a grant to help pay the bands. So we had Clark McNamee from Traveled Ground. He's a musician out of Waconia and is very well known in the area, and he plays with his son. Then a band called Rusty Playground, who they're basically based out of Minneapolis, but those musicians come from all points in the Twin Cities. It's not just the Minneapolis area. They were a lot of fun, and they're friends with another local musician here in town, so that was the connection there. And then the last band of the season was Los Rebeldes, and they're from Albert Lee, actually. So they travel quite a long distance to come play for us, but this is the third time they've played for us. They're super fun, Tex-Mex, Conjunto, Cumbria music. It's great to have them play for us. And I wanted to recognize River of Life Church because they volunteered to, grill for us for one of the events. We had Las Catrinas Taco Truck. We had Mike's Mini Donuts there. It really was a fun event for the community to have in their own backyard. So next year, I would just encourage all of you to come enjoy the music down in the park. It's really a great event, and it's free to attend, and it brings people together in person, and I think we need more of those types of events. A couple other things we do are house concerts. We'll have art classes periodically. If you have people that you know of who are artists or are crafters or are dancers or are authors, any type of arts and culture activity we would like to help foster in the community, so please send them our way. The best way to reach us is through Facebook. You can message us. We check that frequently. It's a nimble platform so that we can update things there more frequently than like a website or that type of thing. But but we're plugging along, and we've got some great things in store, and thank you for your support. We appreciate it.
How many members do you have?
I don't have that data in front of
Okay.
me. I'm sorry.
Just curious. I'd like to thank you for kind of being the driving force in a lot of these things. And the Arts Council does a lot to bring the community together. And so thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you. And you know, the city of Winsted sent a cohort to the Blandon Community Leadership Training Program in 2007. And the Arts Council was born out of that program. And I don't know if they still do that, but I would encourage the city to investigate if we could send another group of people, because I think it really energized a lot of people in town to get involved and to.
Wasn't What Up?
Pardon?
Wasn't What Up born out of that too?
Yes, yep, What Up was also born out of that. And it just made a lot of really great community connections. They may have an alumni program, I'm not sure, but if they do have something, I would really encourage you to investigate that further.
Well, the mural is certainly welcome and it's beautiful. Thank you.
Glad you like it. Did you notice who's driving the train?
I don't think so.
Somebody said it looks like Marty Zitzla.
Yeah. It does. I don't know if that was intentional or not. But yeah, it looks like Marty Zitzloff is driving the train. All right, any other questions? All right,
No,
thank you
thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.
We've come to the open forum section of the meeting tonight. If anybody wants to address the council, step up to the podium, name, address.
He's at his time.
Yeah, you have it. Hi, I'm Diane Newman, 520 Kingsley Street South. I just wanted to make you aware, listening to Julie talk about that mural, the corner down there I thought needed a little sprucing up, so I took it upon myself to put some flowers in there. I also carried water up every day, 4 gallons to keep it watered, and compost from my own garden. Well, with that compost, I now have growing acorn squash down there and butternut squash. Wasn't planned, but I'm hoping that I don't need a special permit or license because I wasn't planning on growing it. I was just trying to beautify the corner.
We didn't hear what you said.
I thought you,
Thank you.
I thought you were planning to make us dinner or something.
I know. I got, well, 15 of them so far, and they're not done growing. But I just wanted to make you aware, I've been doing this for 3 years now, and I've never asked you for any money. It's just something I wanted to do to try to sustain a hometown atmosphere by just beautifying that area. So, I would be asking next year, and I've talked to Chris about for the summer help to help water that down there, depending upon what I'm growing next year. And I would just like to be able to continue to do that for the city.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We've come to the city administrator update and announcements. Neil?
Well, I've talked a lot today, but last thing for me would be I'd just like to publicly thank Madison Fiki for her time here in Winston and wish her good luck on her future endeavors. And let you guys know, the good news is we have had lots of applicants and looking to fill that soon. That's all I have.
Do you have anything?
I do not.
No.
Jesse?
No, sir.
Looking for a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.